Hey guys, Scotty here, Hustle and Grind Pod, coming at you with another episode. We've got Gary Brown from KEMBRO Design Studio. We're going to talk about renos, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and just the grind of, that entrepreneurial journey. You start working, you're learning things as you go, and next thing you know, you're running your own business and you're taking all of those experiences that you've learned over the years and applying it to grow a business. So great chat. Going to have some fun. Tune in.
All right, let's go. Gary Brown from KEMBRO Design Studio. You're here. Thanks for coming.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
You're rocking the Ilbury and Goose brand.
Yes, sir.
Friends of ours.
I always feel left out on that Ilbury episode with Dan. You guys both had the flannels going.
Oh, we did.
Those are nice. Yeah.
And now I'm the
You got to get with the
out
program,
again.
man.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't follow trends as closely.
Hey, you're
as
wearing a Cools hat.
Okay.
So
Well, that's
good.
cool.
That was from our last episode. Got that from Charlie, so that's good. Yeah. No, but Gary, thanks, man. Really, really excited to have you on. I know it's something that we've talked about is having like a renovation expert on. And it's just something that I'm really, really interested about when it comes to business, because there's just there's so many variables. And you did a little tour of our new space that we're in here, and you saw my makeshift bar I'm building, probably cringing as you're looking at it, right?
Great.
So, and I'm that kind of guy that I tell my wife I'm going to build a deck, and there's no plan, and 10 weeks later I'm still trying to build this deck and YouTubing. And so guys like you really fascinate me, but I have a lot of respect for people like you too, and that's curiously just kind of want to get into this, right? From a business point of view, from a personal point of view, what inspires you, what got you kind of excited to get into this space,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's something I've always kind of wanted to do when I was younger. I mean, I just remember the days back with my parents, watching PBS, watching these renovation shows in this old house and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. I always wanted to be part of that, Bob Vila kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a throwback.
Bob Vila.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So you were young watching these shows with your parents.
Yeah, and I was just really interested by it. It was never a thing when I was a kid going that's going to be me. But I just always thought that would be a cool thing to get into. And as a young guy, I moved around quite a bit, so we were always moving into these houses, and I just was always kind of mesmerized by this new house that we're moving into, and what's different about it from the last one. And you just kind of go through and I wonder what I could do with this place.
Really?
Yeah.
So even from a young age, you're kind of and again, it's not that you're like, this is going to be my career one day. It's you're just kind of very interested in this, where maybe most kids wouldn't even pay attention to that.
Absolutely. And my dad was a banker.
Okay.
He wasn't in the industry or anything, but he would do stuff around the house. He was always working away. He'd work his job every day, but come home and finish the basement. It would be a unfinished basement. He would finish it. And
So you were a laborer.
Yeah.
Early.
All right.
Childhood labor.
That's right.
Early
that's how it all starts. Yeah.
The pay was the roof over my head.
That's it.
3 squares a day.
You want to eat later?
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
But so he was a banker, and not saying, were your parents ever pushing you into getting a job with the pension, become a banker, following his steps, or what's
Right. Actually, quite the opposite. Actually, my dad, he was with CIBC for a long time, and he always said, don't get into this industry, right?
Yeah.
And it really became, this thing where it was all team, and if you're just not buying into it, it was
the rah corporate culture.
And I don't know, maybe he kind of planted that seed in my head when I was younger, because I've been at a couple jobs where it was that type of culture, and I'm like, man, I just can't get into it, right? I don't know. I think maybe it was always in my head that I wanted to do my own thing, but I could just never get out to do it, right?
Totally.
So, so his thing was do whatever you want, but just don't get into banking.
Love it. I love that, right? Because, a lot of lawyers, accountants, that sort of thing. I mean, there is that kids following in, and probably banking too. Hey, that's what I know. So, hey, you're my kid. Follow what I do.
We've had some conversations with past guests where we kind of get into that. We talked about it with Charlie on that last episode as well, where you know, he wasn't pressured to be part of the biz either. But when it comes to families, history, sometimes it's a path that's already carved for you. So obviously it sounds like, you know, that wasn't the case. And then I think with your current company, because that wasn't your first business.
No, I had my own business before. And my business partner, Sean, had his own.
Oh, okay.
He was a tool and die maker for many years, and always built beautiful furniture, cabinetry, just kind of out of his garage, right? And it was amazing. And so it was around COVID, he and I teamed up on a couple jobs, right? And it was like, okay, this is going really well. And we did that for about a year. And I was like, well, why don't we kind of incorporate this as one company, right? So he builds just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So we're like, we can offer our clients a full package, because if you're going out and getting a renovator, it's very rare that the renovator will, you know, offer you the full renovation service plus the cabinetry. It's, you know, we do the renovation, but we have a cabinet guy.
I see.
They take the cabinetry and mark it up, right?
Sure.
So with us, it's like we built that into the whole
A to Z
project. One phone call, you know. It makes it a lot easier for the clients. They don't have to make all these phone calls and try to get, you know, can I get my kitchen guy here and get the general contractor here and the designer here and all that kind of stuff. I take care of all that. I get that.
Well, and it's funny you say that. So literally having a chat with a buddy who I coach with last night. He's moving his business into a new location, and so they're doing some demo. And he's, you know, it's end of practice, and he's getting a message from the guy who's doing the demo, and there's like a water heater on top of like this little room in this facility. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you better call a plumber and your gas guy, because I'm not doing that. It's like, right. No, I hired you to demo this place. What do you mean? So now he's scrambling. He's got to find a plumber and a gas guy, or one guy who maybe can do both. Oh, right. In a pinch, like for like this morning. It's like, surprise.
Yeah.
Right? Like that part of the project management, like if you like being the GC is a grind. Right? Finding all the little pieces and putting it together. So I got to imagine having that one-stop shop can be a relief for you know, your clients.
Absolutely, because the guys that are the companies that I have helping me too, like electricians and plumbers and stuff.
You sub some of that stuff out, right?
That's right. Yeah. And you want somebody who's doing that. You don't want somebody to say, oh, I can do the electrical and the plumbing too. Like, no, you don't want that.
No.
There's way too many issues, right?
Water and electricity.
What's that? The jack? You don't want the jack of all. You want the master, or
the master of none.
The master of one, baby. Or not, well, I'm the master of none. That's for sure. But so can you take us back though a little bit into I really want to talk to you about like how you got into the industry. We were talking about like you were inspired at an early age, but at what point? I think I read, you know, you went to Fanshawe for marketing, probably realized, this shit ain't for me. Which, you know, I didn't realize, and I stuck with it obviously, but were you like more like, I need to be like a hands-on sort of like have that type of career versus sitting behind a computer? Like what kind of, take us through that journey.
Again, it was one of those things where it's just, you know, that always kind of had me, right? So I've been in the building industry since I was in high school. Okay. Like I started out at COPP'S Buildall. Like
nice.
Yeah, I started like, you know, loading people's vehicles.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, okay, And then I started delivering. So delivering was my thing after that. And then I got into the sales desk. So it was great because then you started to meet all these different contractors and stuff. And, you know, what are you working on now? And, you know, like that kind of thing. So that was really cool. I really got into that. But at the time, I wasn't thinking, still wasn't thinking that's what I'm like, I'm going to be wearing a suit somewhere, you know, working in an office somewhere and whatever. And I thought that was going to be me, right? And you know, I kind of had those type of jobs, and I'm just sitting there like in the office space going like, oh my God, I can't do this, man. Like, this is, this is crazy.
It's interesting, eh? Like the types of personalities that, you know, me too. Like I'd rather be out dealing with clients, not behind a desk, that sort of thing. But that's so then at what point So that's cool. So you're grinding through these kind of like labor jobs, working for COPP'S, and then how did that path continue?
So from there, I went to a custom window and door place. So I was building entryways. And,
wow.
Yeah, which was really cool. And I like we would build stuff for like celebrities and like it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really neat. Actually,
so very customized stuff.
Very customized.
Yeah.
I went all over like North America. I went through like over to Europe, that kind of stuff.
Where do you find, like, how do you just stumble into that?
Good question.
Like,
Well,
right?
that's a good
Because
question.
you're
Yeah.
working on some pretty high end shit now, traveling everywhere to do the work. It's like not like there's a ton of celebs in London. So
That's right. Well, it was one of these things where a friend of mine worked there. He was, I think he was in the window department or something, and they were looking for someone. And I remember doing the interview, and the girl's like, "Well, I could really see you in our office." I'm like, No, I'm here to apply for the door.
Shit.
Great job, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that for about, 5 years. And I really enjoyed it. Like, it was fun. Like, because you just build new stuff every day, right? It was something different. It wasn't the same old, fill out paperwork or whatever. So I did that for about 5 years and then moved into the office, right? I did the office thing. So I got into quoting all the projects that we're working on. And then I ended up moving into what's called architectural services at the time. So I was dealing with the really big projects, all the big customized stuff that were going out to Florida, that type of thing. So that was kind of cool. But then again, we got purchased out by a big corporate company, right? So
like an acquisition sort of,
And it became like, the buzzword type place. And I'm like, man, who talks like this?
Shit.
I can't do it, right? Like it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
So I did that for about another 5 years. And then a friend of mine worked at WINMAR. It was like property restoration. So, fires and floods and that type of thing. And he's like, I'm going to open my own out west. Like, would you be interested in coming into my place? I think you'd rock it. I think you'd be really good at it. So, I thought, okay, well, here we go. And I was going to like 100% commission. So I'm going from a job from like getting paid pretty decently to 100% commission.
Okay. Take us through that.
Shitting my pants, obviously.
But now you're entering into that shitting my pants entrepreneur mindset, right?
That's right.
And that uncomfortable space.
Yeah.
And
it was, I'm like, well, I know I can get into these houses now and I can start seeing what's going on and like the inner working. So that's where I really started honing my craft of knowing how houses are put together, right? Like, I always had that interest in it, but this threw me right, like literally into the fire because I'm dealing with houses that are burnt out or flooded,
all kinds
wind
of
damage, like you name it, right? Cars impacting. So I really got to know the business.
And that initial jump was commission only?
Commission only, yeah.
They didn't pay a salary no way, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, I imagine the nice thing is that, you've got some insurance contracts.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not like you're out there knocking. Can I repair your door?
That was it. So
Right?
you still had to market yourself and get yourself out there with with different
the right groups.
adjusters and that type of stuff, right? But you had a lot of those leads were really coming in. So like every time it rained, you kind of like, okay, I'm going to be busy. I can feel it. Yeah. I remember when I first left the place, it was here in Byron, and a big storm comes ripping through. And you could just see it get dark and wind's picking up and then the rain comes out. I ran out on my driveway and I'm just like,
You're the only one cheering.
It's raining dollar bills.
It's raining. I'm going to be busy, honey. So see ya.
Yeah. So it was good for a while, but I mean, it was like I did that for about 10 years. But it's a 24-hour,
You're on
week,
call
all
like
the time.
Because again, if you're not connecting all of those dots and getting quotes and you're not getting paid.
You're not making the money, right? So I mean, the other part of it too is you get called out to these houses and you're dealing with people that have just gone through something really traumatic, right? And it's whether their house is caught
They're
on
not
fire.
happy to see you.
No. But one thing I always made sure I did before I left, no matter what the cause or what happened to the house, I always wanted to make sure they were at least smiling or laughing by the time I got done, because then it gets their mind off it a little bit, right? And that was definitely an important thing for me. That made me kind of feel better about it and feel better for them, and hopefully, I can at least kind of walk them through a little bit and just make them feel a little bit better after they suffered this loss.
It's a delicate process, right? Because again, like, you walk in, you've seen a million floods.
Yeah.
Right? To you, this ain't no thing. But like
To
somebody's else, the first time it's their home and they're throwing a bunch of their stuff in the garbage, like it's traumatic, right? So having that ability to understand that and recognize that, because I can imagine there's some folks that walk in there nonchalant, no big deal, and it's got to rub people the wrong way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you'd see people lose pictures, like photos, because you have
right, man.
It's a little different now,
It's in a
but
box
you still
on
have
the basement floor.
have that like family heirlooms, like grandma gave me this or whatever, and it's gone, right? Like,
Jesus,
you couldn't help but feel bad for them, right?
So that I would imagine that's part of the job you didn't really necessarily know you'd be having to deal with the emotional kind of like baggage,
And I mean, it was tough, but it was also kind of rewarding too. Like if you could help them through that situation, right? Like it's like I said, it's traumatic, and anything you could do to make them feel a little bit better. Yeah. Before you came, like when you leave, you knew they were feeling a little bit
of
better.
relief, I would imagine. You're coming in, like Scotty said. Hey, I've been here before. This is how it's going to happen. I'm here to kind of help out. So yeah, I can imagine how that would be very helpful for sure.
Well, and it reminds me, and this isn't just unique to the restoration business, right?
No.
If you are a customer service facing business, people aren't going to remember as much as about what you say compared to how you make them feel.
Love that. Yeah.
Right. So if you can be conscious of that as you're going through whatever engagement it is, whatever your business is, and like, what am I doing, and how is this going to make this prospect, this client feel?
Yeah.
And if you can be aware of that, chances are you're going to provide a better service.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's true in any business, right? It's like, how are you making your clients, your customers feel? Whether you're, we were at, actually, it's funny, we're at Chick-fil-A, my son and I, the other night, and we go there a few times. It's our thing. And he mentioned, he's like, I've never seen people so happy to serve you food. And it's true, like they do leave an impression rather than just another fast food place or whatever. It's like they're really like, there's something in the culture there, I imagine, right, that my 14-year-old is even noticing, picking up on, like they're making us feel good that we just ordered a chicken sandwich. You know what I mean? I think for any business, I think that's a good point, Scott.
Well, and then your likelihood of coming back later goes up,
obviously,
right? Because that's how you made them feel. Goes back to your Foot Locker story. Same kind of idea with Ben, right? Like,
totally.
That kid took the time to pay attention to the conversation, care about the conversation, and then remembered you the next time you were there, right?
Yeah.
And that makes you feel some sort of way.
Absolutely.
So, Gary, there's some, I don't want to go over this. There's some gates. I call them gates. Gates in...
You don't want to go over it?
No, I do want to go back to the... I don't want to...
Miss it?
Miss it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Just so we're clear on what you're trying to say.
Thanks, man. That's why you're here. You're here to keep me in check, right? There's gates that I usually go through a process or checks and balances and whatever. I've heard you say a few things, and you were earlier on. You were getting into quoting and that sort of thing, maybe with COPP'S or someone else. Then you get into this like 100% commission career, right? And then you're getting into this kind of like emotional connection. There's all these things you're ramping up to become an entrepreneur,
right?
And you're putting in the reps, as Scotty says, and you're just kind of like working those muscles, right? At some point, you're like, okay, like I've got the confidence, like I'm literally an entrepreneur working on 100% commission. I can do this on my own. Like, at what point are you realizing you have the confidence now to go out on your own?
Well, probably, I was with WINMAR for about 10 years. So probably about the 8th year, I remember it was after a massive storm, and I'm just doing tons of paperwork. I think I'm in the office about 2 o'clock in the morning, just pumping out paperwork.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to be doing this 20 years from now, doing the exact same thing.
At 2 in the morning.
2 in the morning. And I'm like, how long can I be doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what happens if I went the route of renovating? Like going in to see people that want to see you, want to have you change their life, basically, right? Like in a good way. So not someone who's, not wanting to see you because they just lost everything, but they're wanting to see you because they want to change the layout of their house or make something more functional for their family. They're smiles on their face.
So flipping the script a bit.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm like, what happens if I do that? So it did take me a bit of time to kind of get it planned together.
Sure, of course.
So I was with WINMAR, and then I moved over to CertaPro Painters for about a year and a half, I was a residential sales manager, and it was one of those things too where I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm ready to make that jump yet. And so I'm working there, and I go in, and I'm quoting a paint job, and I'm like, man, I want to rip that wall out.
Right.
So,
right.
We're not going to paint this wall.
We're going to rip it out.
Rip her out. And we're
actually going to renovate this whole room.
I'll save you a few bucks on paint. But I'll ding you a few more on the
client's like,
that's right. We got to paint it anyway. Let's just take the wall right out. But that's the thing. Like I was like, man, this is really cool. Like I could see what could happen to this house if I could work some magic here.
Wow.
So about a year and a half, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm making the jump. Yeah. So I went, and I was, what was that? 2017, I think is when that happened. So I was like, okay, we're going full bore. So I jumped into it and was fortunate enough to get some really good leads off the hop. Right.
Nice.
So I did that on my own for about 3 years.
It was like Brown and Co.
Brown
or
and Co.
something.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I remember seeing that. Yeah. For some reason. Okay.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, I had a lot of leads from families and family and friends and that kind of stuff. But as you know, in the industry, like being an entrepreneur, you only have so many friends.
That's your warm network. Your warm funnel. You want to build up your cold funnel.
Yeah. But at the time, you're thinking, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is going to be great. I've got all these people I can do work for. But you do that, and then it's great because you start getting referrals from people you did work to their neighbors and family and stuff. But that only lasts for so long too, right? So then you kind of have to start putting yourself out there a little bit. Get out and grind.
Which you worked that muscle before, when you were 100% commission and you were having to go out and kind of hunt. For the business, right? So I imagine that you're like, okay, I've been here before. I'm kind of comfortable in this situation. Is that kind of where you're like, okay, I got to get into that now?
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly what that was. So it was going really well. But then again, I started to help out my business partner with his company. So that's where we were. Okay, well, maybe we could make a go of this, but let's start changing up a bit where we can offer everybody that full package rather than, hey, Sean, can you do this kitchen for me? Or can you build this vanity or this built-in? So it was, rather than keeping that separate, we thought, let's get on it together.
So Brown & Co., based on your prior experience in a number of different roles, organizations, because I got to imagine you're not the only one who's like, okay, I want to get in the reno game, right? And the trades, I think more so now than ever, massive opportunity, right? And often because there's so many, and I hate to say it, there's so many douchebags out there. Right? So I've said it before, like you only have to, like you're in a race of turtles, right? You only just have to be the fastest turtle, right? And often that means just answering your goddamn phone. Yeah. And just showing up when you say you're going to show up, doing what you say you're going to do, right? Don't overpromise. Right? In fact, maybe under-promise and over-deliver. Yeah. Right? So again, for those in the trades who like, I think there's still opportunity. Like if you do good work, if you care about your job and you do what you say you're going to do, in this world, you're off because you hear so many horror stories. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Right? Like, do you have any clients that you've worked with where like you've come in to save the day as a result of like some shady craftsmanship or some dude who's maybe biting off more than he can chew? And
we haven't really had that happen, but we have come across renovations that we are doing where someone else has renovated it, and it's like you get walls opened and stuff, and you're like, oh my. Okay. Who did this? Yeah. But we're actually doing one right now.
Like cutting through joists.
So one we're working on right now, we're doing a main level and a basement, and we pulling out drywall because we're shifting some stuff around, and whoever did the previous renovation ripped out all the cold air returns to the basement to the upper level in the main floor. So you're not getting proper airflow through your house at all. It was just like, how do you do that? So now we're picking up the pieces of that.
Right.
And the unfortunate part is the homeowner now has to pay for somebody else's shortcuts, right?
Yeah.
And they're getting back to your point of, a lot of douchebags. And, it's true. Like you run across a lot of shady people, right? And I think those tend to be guys that are here today, gone tomorrow. So just getting your name out there now, treating customers right, treating them the way you want to be treated, and honest and open communication with them is huge, right? And and bringing up these points of like, hey, I'm sorry this has happened in this previous renovation, but now is the time we got to make it right. So, you're going to have proper airflow in your house. You're going to have your furnace working properly, just stuff like that.
Well, let's be clear too here. I'm not trying to label the trades as like filled with douchebags. Like it's any business, any industry.
For sure.
You're going to find shady characters. You're going to find shady characters everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But I've just heard so many horror stories of folks who, leave a deposit, which is like half of the project. And then they never hear from them again.
Yeah.
No.
Like, and they ripped off your siding, and then you give them a deposit and then they're gone. And it's like, now I have no siding on my house. I just spent a chunk of change on a deposit, and now I'm left holding the bag, and the work was never completed. Like,
that's right.
You hear that shit, and it just
it's bad for someone like me because you hear that, right, and you're always worried that someone is going to think you're that way. Like when you're talking to them, you're like, okay, like hopefully they don't think we're this fly by night type of company.
No.
We want, we're building this brand, and we want to make sure everyone knows that when you're bringing KEMBRO Design Studio in to do your project, it's going to be taken care of, and we're not cutting any corners or taking shortcuts. Like the last thing, as a renovator, the last thing you want is those callbacks. Like, oh, this isn't working, or this isn't working. So you want to make sure you're doing everything properly.
Yeah, because at that point, the bill's been paid.
Yeah.
Work, you guys have moved on to another project.
For sure. Or, you also get those people that come into your client's house afterwards and like, oh, who did this? Or, and you don't want that. You don't want that name because that stuff spreads like wildfire, right? So if you want to have a proper company that's known for good work, you never cut corners.
Yeah, you want people coming to go, oh wow, who did this?
Yeah,
like it's it's the same question, just with a little bit of a different inflection.
That's true.
Right?
Good point. And I'm glad we're getting into this because when I knew we were going to have you on, I started thinking about not to make it about me, but when we build a website or develop a website, I'm always kind of saying, I'm explaining it as like, hey, we're going to build the foundation, we're going to build the walls, then you put the furniture in, which is the content of a website and that sort of thing. And often we do, in my industry, we take on other websites that were done like shit or half done, and I'm having to deliver the bad news to the client.
This isn't going to work.
We got to fix this before, we move on to other things. It's shitty to have to say that, but we're just building a website. Like that's just us kind of fixing some things digitally. And then I'm thinking about you thinking like, man, you're ripping a wall out and you're seeing it done wrong and you're opening Pandora's box. That's a physical thing you're having to do with. So it's one thing us having to fix a website.
Right.
But for you, it's so what I want to ask you is like the project management piece. So of like, how do you do that? You're ripping it out. You're opening Pandora's box. Now you're having to deliver the shitty news to the client. But further that, how are you pulling in other people, experts, and people externally to take this on when maybe they're busy? Or how are you managing that?
Well, thankfully, I've been in the industry for a long time.
Okay.
So, last like 20 years. So I've got lots of contacts that literally can do anything. So
nice.
And having those connections and those contacts is great because I can just say, hey, man, I got this issue. I need you to come take a look at, right? Whereas if you're a homeowner and you're doing that, it's like,
who do I call?
Who do I call? What is this?
I got to Google this.
Yeah. They have no idea. Or, the other part of it too is they might not even know there's an issue, right? And then they just cover it up and it just keeps happening again. So, it's difficult. I mean, you have to have a lot of difficult conversations with homeowners, right? Like, luckily we haven't had a ton of things where it's like, wow, this is intense. Like we're really gonna. It's usually fairly minor. It's usually like Uncle John did the electrical here at one point. There's all these junction boxes all over the place. So that you bring in your electrician, like, hey, we got to get this cleaned up. We can't cover this back over.
Which is, again, at that point, most of the time, relatively straightforward. It's not like the missing cold air return.
That's right. Yeah.
For example, right? Or a colleague of mine, and I was going to ask on that thread is like a contingency plan. Like, are you baking in or educating your prospects before they come clients? Because I imagine, depending on the home, the age of the home, the location, how old it is. Like a colleague of mine, they live in a Old North, kind of just outside of downtown there, and they've done some renos. And she's saying, like, after their first project, she's like, now, like, we throw in like a 30 to 40% contingency.
Yeah, wow.
Because their home's over 100 years old.
Yeah,
and if you're going to do something, you're almost inevitably going to find something that you weren't expecting.
Yeah. Century homes, like you said, like Old North, we've done a few bathrooms up through there. And so I always tell them, okay, this is priced on what we can see. And I'm like, I'll guarantee you there's going to be something that we're going to find. Like, usually pretty minor, but we'll probably find something. So just be prepared for that. But we'll have that discussion once everything's opened and we can see it.
So don't stretch yourself too thin on this initial dream of what you want us to build, because there's likely something that we're going to find that we haven't thought about
Absolutely.
yet.
Yeah, like if you got $40,000 to do your bathroom or something, like, maybe dial some stuff back a little bit, just if that's what you have available.
If the risk is high.
But and is that part of your role though, where you're entering into these highly emotional spaces? Talk about kitchens, bathrooms. I mean, I think in your one you were saying 80%. You do 80% of kitchens or bathrooms or something.
Well, that'll be your return on investment, because a lot of people are I want to do this kitchen, but I'm not sure. Like, is it worth it?
I see.
Like, what's it all about, right?
Yeah.
So typically on a kitchen, you're looking at about an 80% return. So
meaning the money you invest in the reno itself
will come back to
give you a return in the increase in property value.
That's right. Yeah. And if you go to sell, like that type of thing. So because you get a lot of people that, okay, we're going to do this kitchen main floor reno, but then we're going to sell in the next 2 years kind of thing. So, am I going to make the money? Like, am I putting this money into it and I'm not going to make a nickel off of it from the sale, right? So that's where that kind of comes in. So your kitchens and your bathrooms, basements, you always get a return on those. Yeah, it's definitely.
But it's a slippery slope based on your taste too, right? Because
I was just going to say that
some of the finishings that folks are into are like, yeah, we can do this reno and it's going to give you a good ROI. But if we start adding in all of this, high-end, wild finishings, our ROI starts to become a question mark.
For sure. And that's the thing. If you're doing that reno, we'll just say a kitchen reno, you've got things that are trendy right now. Like, it's really trendy to do this, right?
Perfect for Ryan.
Oh, I had trends.
Loves that shit.
Man. Hey, I do love my trends.
The trend is
I want to ask you about trends. Keep going.
Well, it's okay. Is this trend going to be cool in 5 years? Is this going to look like, oh my God, what did I just do?
No, Ryan, it's not, Ryan.
So,
thanks, Gary.
My advice to clients is typically, okay, if you're going to stay in this house maybe 2 years, it's fine to go trendy, really trendy, right? Like, you can do that because someone's going to pick up on that and want to buy it, right?
Yeah.
But if you're looking to stay in your house for like 5 to 10 years, go with what you want, right? Like, just make it.
And you're there to help guide them through that.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what we're there for, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can do whatever they want, but you also want to have those conversations of like, what's your plan? Like, what's your 5-year plan kind of thing? Is it stay here? Is it to move? That kind of thing. Because you got to know where to invest that money, right? So
and that might not be something that, if my wife and I want to renovate the kitchen, that might not be something that we've considered until you come in. You're like, hey, have you considered your 5-year plan? We're like, 5-year plan, we just want a kitchen renovated. But you're creating that opportunity for that discussion.
Right.
And then I would imagine that will help with the scope and the planning, that the whole thing, right?
That's right.
And then, so my fascination with someone like you is that, like, you go in and now you've got to help kind of guide these people in these highly emotional spaces and that sort of thing. And everything from the type of tile they pick to the splash board to the faucet, like, that could just be endless. Like, how do you manage that?
Well, that's a good question. I can do some of that myself, but what we typically do is we bring in a designer to help the client with that. So we have access to a couple of great designers that we use, and it's nice because I can kind of pick and choose who I think is going to be the best fit for that client, right? So to help them, guide them through that process. I mean, like I said, I can do it, but I'd rather focus my attentions on getting the work done, like getting everything handled, right? So I'll bring in that designer. They can help with the layout of the kitchen, like what type of cabinets, what handles, what type of pull-outs, and all these, because there's just so much now.
There's so much. That's what makes me overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Talking to you is that how I would just get so overwhelmed with all the details, right?
It really is, right? Because you might see a tile you like, and then is that going to go well with that paint color, and is it going to go nice with the cabinet? So that's where we bring in the designer. Designer sits down with them, goes over everything, and helps put those pieces together. Does a little sample board for them, and it's definitely a nice touch to have.
Yeah, because you've got like Design Studio in the name of the company. So we're going back like 2014, home we bought. We were doing a kitchen reno, and we thought kind of the same thing. We wanted to gut the main floor, open things up, and we explored hiring a designer, and I've always been a little uncertain on the value in that, only because of my own experience. So I'd love to get your take. But, we were approaching, that we're kind of crossing that bridge. Like, do we bring in a designer to help us with the space? Yeah. And we met with them. They came, visited our place to kind of size it up. And at that point, it was gutted, right?
Oh, okay.
Back to the studs. We're like, we've got a clean slate here.
Wow.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I get an invoice for them to come for that visit. I'm like, I don't even think I hired you yet. What am I fucking invoicing you for? You haven't done anything for me yet. I was just meeting you. You're going to size up her space and maybe come up with some ideas. But so that turned us off.
Right.
And then when they came with that invoice, they just printed out some sheets from House Sigma or whatever, or
really?
House,
one of those, House, one of those sites, and we're like, Amanda's like, honey, I have all of those pinned already in my little folder here or whatever. Right. Why are we hiring these people?
Yeah.
Well, one thing that really helps too, and I tell clients this too, is give me some ideas of what you're looking at before I come out here. So you go on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Send me some ideas so we can see what your style is, kind of.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So when I'm just putting together a budgetary price, because that's what I tend to do, is just do a budgetary price first. Okay, based on our discussion, this is kind of what we're looking at based on your style of cabinetry and what you want to do here. I give them a budgetary price, and then that kind of gets them the idea of, okay, this is what we're looking at here, yay or nay, or that's fine, and then we start fine-tuning everything. So again, that's where the designer comes in. Okay, let's do these tiles, let's do these.
Well, and for us, it was like, here's the space.
Yeah.
I don't know, how long of an island do we need? How much space do we need between the island and the counter? And I'm hopefully finding somebody who has some of these insights that can direct us, and I can just trust them, right? Whereas in this particular case, we're like, we'll just figure this shit out on our own, right? Because I wasn't, and the invoice for the first visit was obnoxious anyway. So I was like, no chance. No chance.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, the designer should have that conversation with you ahead of time too, not throwing you any curveballs here, right? That's terrible.
I don't think they're in business anymore.
No, well,
probably a reason for that.
Probably a reason for that, yeah. So, Gary, I want to go back to, the evolution of KEMBRO Design Studio, because for those listening, and even from my own experience having a business partner, you and Sean, is it?
Yes.
You're working independently, and at some point you're like, hey, we should team up.
Right.
Now that sounds wonderful, but now you're entering into a partnership, essentially a marriage, right? And it's like, that sounds great. And I've been down this road with business partners where it ended in disaster because we were friends. We're like, but shitty business partners, good friends.
Yeah.
Help us understand, or the audience, like your mindset, and both of you kind of coming together as one. You know, KEMBRO, I imagine it's your two names
Yes.
kind of put together.
That's correct, yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a very personal brand. And now you guys are building an actual showroom too.
Yes,
So
yeah.
take us through the evolution of that, if you can.
So I guess the big thing with that was when we decided, okay, well, through COVID,
Yep.
so we started.
What a great time.
Let me back this up
okay.
a bit. So
Yeah.
when we first started, that was back in February of 2020.
Okay.
So literally a month before COVID happened.
You started KEMBRO.
Yeah,
Like
that's
a
when we
month
decided
before.
let's put
Holy
these two
shit.
together and rebrand and do.
Sure, why
Yeah,
not?
so there's interesting time.
Yeah.
Like
Good old
you know,
COVID.
Yeah.
you think, oh,
Well-
COVID, great time to start a business.
Yeah.
Obviously, supply chains went wacky.
Absolutely.
But during that time, like real estate and like renos, like
renovation.
were like hot.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like some good and some bad there.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was the thing. So
Interesting.
we start this company, and then like literally a month later, it's like world shuts down. We're like, fuck. Like, what are we gonna do here, man? Like,
Yeah.
we're screwed. Well, all of a sudden the phone starts ringing. It's like, yeah, we're looking to do a renovation. Like,
Right.
do you guys have any availability? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
at that point, you had to have those conversations about, you know, did you want us wearing masks in the house? Like all this
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. This
Jeez, I
world had
forget all
gone.
that shit.
I
But
know.
yeah, that, it
I
seems
wanted-
like. Yeah.
Oh, so we're gonna need lumber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want to wait.
Okay.
So that was a very difficult point too, because it's
Right.
like, okay, I'm like, I can give you an estimate, but I can only hold that price for 24 hours because,
Shit was changing so fast.
dude, you would go.
Okay, I'm glad we're talking about this because I don't like. I remember hearing about this,
man.
but coming from you, that was right
That's
in
smart.
it. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
smart.
It was
Let us
ridiculous.
know how, yeah,
You would go in and a 2x4 would be $4.50, and then
Right.
the next day you go in at $7.85.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
how can I? I'm like, our labor is our labor. Like
Yeah.
that's not going to change.
Yeah.
Like,
But materials
materials
were
were
just
all
like-
over the place.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Huh.
depending on what we're doing, whether we're doing a bathroom or whatever, it's like, okay, like get your taps and everything, get them ordered like right away.
Yeah.
Because who knows how long that's going to take.
So that sense of urgency that was created in the world essentially helped your business.
It did. It really did.
Yeah, like, it's not like you were forcing the hand on that. It was like you were just working within the rules of what were happening.
That's right. It was.
Yeah.
It went from holy shit
Yeah.
to like, how are we going to get this stuff done? Because we've got so many people calling, like looking to like. I think it just got to a point where you're working from home now, and
Yeah.
your spouse is there,
Yeah.
and your kids are there, and it's like we need more space here. Like we just can't. We're on top of each other, right?
Yeah,
So
wow.
That's where that all.
So
kinda
you guys
came in.
right into the fire.
Right into the fire.
And then how did you navigate through that successfully? Obviously, because you're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. It was just committing to quality. Like it's always about quality for us, and we were like, again, we're not cutting corners, so everything was about quality. So we made sure those projects were done and done properly, and it was just trying to navigate that. Like, how are we going to get this stuff done? So that's again where I can pull in my contacts to help get that done. And thankfully, we were able to get everything done, and for the most part on time. It was kind of hard to nail down an exact time frame on your project because of stuff being delayed and whatever, but whereas it's a little different now, but that's the way it was then. And it was just again about keeping in communication and contact with your clients and just letting them know, okay, we're waiting on this, but we can't get any more
Communication,
it's-
Like that's the key there. Is being willing to have that difficult conversation, because it might not be what they want to hear.
That's right.
And everyone wants that project done yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
But now, you're waiting on a sink or a toilet or whatever it might happen to be.
Yeah.
Or a countertop or whatever. And they see the reno completing very soon, and you're like, not so much.
You'd have to offer different solutions, right? So you're looking at, okay, well, maybe we can't go with that, dream sink that you wanted. We might have to go with something else.
Yeah.
And so it was just
Constant
But
changing.
it comes down to
Keeping cats in the box, as they say, right?
Keeping
Like-
cats in the box. There you go. Yeah. But communicating, right?
Yeah.
It sounds simple. Similar, when we build a brand for a client, and if they don't hear from us for 2 weeks, they're freaking out, being like, "What's my logo going to look like? What are the colors?" Like, we're building brands, so make it a point to every few days through a brand process. Similarly, if you're renovating something, just give them a touch point. Hey, just give them a heads up. I imagine you're really good at that.
Yeah. You have to be, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't leave your clients in the dark because there's nothing worse than coming home and going, okay, was anything done today?
Right,
Or like what's happening? Like you have to keep them in the know. Like
So
Yeah.
I think, in your story and scenario, it sounds like obviously based on your experience in different gigs throughout the way, you had a bit of an advantage when you started based on the network of contacts. You've got folks you can trust, they do good work, right? So what advice might you have for somebody who's listening, who's like pretty handy? Maybe they had some child labor in their dad's basement when they were a kid. They can use the tools and they're thinking about it, but they don't have that network. They're not real sure. Like, do you have any words of wisdom that might be helpful for them?
Yeah, I would suggest trying to get with a company just to kind of like cut your teeth on that, right? Like just to get yourself involved and try to make as many contacts as you can, right? Like I've been lucky because for the most part, I've grown up in London my entire life. I've been here and there and everywhere, but London's my home base. So I've made a lot of those connections over the years. And the big thing is picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Like you never want to just kind of get to the end of that job and go, okay, when's the next one?
Right.
Like you have to keep those things
stay
going.
ahead of it.
Yeah, and nowadays it's social media is a big thing. Like trying to get into that, and I'm kind of started doing that. I'm a 50-year-old dude trying to figure
I've seen
my
it.
way
It looks
out there.
good. You're doing
Thanks,
a good
man.
job.
Well,
man.
I mean, and picking up the phone sounds pretty simple and straightforward to somebody like me. You
It's
ever
hard.
talked on the phone to a teenager for crying out loud?
Yeah. Well, this next generation we talk about communication. It's
Like
changing.
I'll call my kid and he'll answer.
Your kid answers when you call him?
Sometimes.
Mine doesn't.
Mine will text me
But
back.
but it's
What do you want?
Yeah.
but it's quiet. Like it doesn't even say hello. It's just he just answers. I'm like, hello? He's like, yeah. What? I'm like, dude, answer the phone with a greeting. Like when somebody calls you, greet them. And the next thing you know, we'll be talking, and then he hangs up. I'm like, dude, text him back. You got to say goodbye.
That's right.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
So I mean, in theory, pick up the phone sounds like a great idea. But
does.
Man, like with this generation of texting and social media,
That'll be tough for them. I guess.
There's
He picks up a phone and texts somebody.
There's some soft skills. There's some soft skills there that are
agreed.
But I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, even and growing a company myself too. I don't pick up the phone and call as much as I should. I resort to emails, to texting, and that sort of thing. So, good point.
Yeah. Well,
I think
I find
something to that.
I like picking up the phone because you never know. Because sometimes you just text somebody, they'll ignore it, or email goes, throw that in the junk, or just completely ignore it, forget about it. But if you pick up the phone and call somebody, you never know. Like I don't know how many times I've picked up the phone, say, hey, just seeing what you're up to, and just if you're looking to have anything done or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm glad you called because we're looking to reno our bathroom or whatever, right? Like I just made a phone call a couple weeks ago to a fellow I used to work with, and he's like, I'm looking for a new cabinet guy. I'm like, perfect.
Got one.
We're your guy.
Bingo.
And now we're doing
It's awesome.
2 new builds for him, like full millwork.
That's the internal growth. I talk about that a lot too, is, that internal growth model, right? You enter into this relationship with the client, and then there's so much more that can open up if you're doing a good job on that. We have that as well, right? It's like, it's growing that internally. It's so hard to get a new client, but it's more, it's more realistic to kind of grow internally with that client. I imagine you probably see that all the time. I would think, hey, they renovated our kitchen. What else do we need done? Let's get Gary and his team to do this, or
The repeat business is great. We're very lucky that way. And
That's awesome.
again, I think that speaks back to the quality of work, right? And not cutting corners and keeping the clients informed.
Yes.
So they know what's going on, right? So they're like, we want them back to do this. Like, I don't know how many times we've done like a bathroom and then it turns into a kitchen, or vice versa, or like full interior reno or whatever, right? Like it's been great. And again, like
awesome.
We started our company based on word of mouth, and it's kept us going, but we got to the point where it's like, okay, well, that's great, but we got to start expanding, right? And
well, and like you said, that example, that one call turns into 2 big jobs, right? And that call wasn't like, you weren't there in a hard, cold, pitch necessarily. It's a connection, and in business and sales, and something that I've, learned the hard way many times too, is you could have somebody you've done business with and absolutely love the service. They even say, man, if I know anyone who's looking for that, I'll be sure to refer them. But life happens, people get busy, and if you're not top of mind, even though they weren't lying to you, they weren't bullshitting you, they really had intentions of referring you. But when life gets moving and it's 4 months, 6 months, 8 months later, and you're not top of mind, it doesn't even register when somebody's having the conversation about their bathroom reno.
Yeah.
Right. And then, but if you give them that call and that nudge, and it's like, boom, light bulb, now you're top of mind again. Yes, actually, I do have something you can do there. And just last piece on that note too, which I've realized recently, which has been helpful for me, which I didn't do it. So when you're when you're doing cold calls, I would never leave a voicemail, right? Because it's like, they don't fucking check their voicemail.
Yeah.
They're never calling me back anyway.
Yeah.
But a lot of people get their voicemails transcribed now, and it hits their inbox.
Right.
So they can read your voicemail. So I've started, I don't do it every time, but if I've going through my reps and I've made some calls, I'll leave a message. And I'm telling you, man, like, I'm getting callbacks.
That's a great point, man.
I'm getting callbacks now.
Yeah.
And, not that every one of those callbacks generates an immediate opportunity, but I've just taken this opportunity, like, what, I'm just going to leave a message.
Yeah.
I'm not counting on them calling me back.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what the rate is. I haven't done the math, but I'm getting callbacks now.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I think it's partially because, and I've had even email responses to my voicemail.
Yeah.
It happened literally this morning. I called
cool.
a client, left her a message, and she replied to my message, which was in her email. And I could see my own transcription from my original message.
Yeah. Smart. Well, those touch points, right? That you don't want to leave on the table. You want to lock those in. So it's a good point, man. I was talking, actually funny, I was talking to Brett Lucier, friend of the pod, and then he's doing your, you guys are building out a new showroom.
Yes. Yeah.
Which
Got the
is,
windows.
that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Brett's doing your windows. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, how do you go, like, when do you make the decision to be like, now we need a showroom? Because that's probably, now you're brick and mortar. That's a big step.
That's right.
I would imagine.
Investment, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we talked about it about a year ago. It was one of these things where the economy took a shit, basically, right? And people stopped building and doing renovation because no one knew what's going on with this tariff stuff. So
right.
we were just like, okay, what do we do here, man? Like, I think we got to refocus on the company, because you get busy with day-to-day stuff, right? And sometimes that business kind of takes a sidestep, right? And you're just focusing on just getting the work done.
Yes. You're in, right? We talked about this.
Man, I just got goosebumps when you said that, because we talked about this, working in the business versus working on the business. So take us through that a little bit more.
So basically what happened was, okay, we're a little bit slower than we want to be, but maybe this is time to invest into the company,
yes.
right? So it's like, okay, what do we want our clients to experience? So we have a cabinetry. We build our own cabinetry. So a lot of renovation companies don't do that. They just pull in a sub-trade to do that.
Okay. I didn't know that. So that's an advantage for you guys. You have that internally in-house.
That's correct. Yeah.
Got it.
The majority of renovation companies don't have that. That's kind of where we're hoping to separate ourselves. So what better way for a client to see our cabinetry is coming into a design center, like a showroom, right? So we used to do call an old client and hey, can we bring a new client through so they can see your work? And why not have them come to a place where they can see it and actually pick out, what type of doors they want, what type of countertops they want.
You got some sample sets there that people can fish through.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it makes it a little bit easier for them too. And it's a great spot for a designer, right? So they can go and get the floor samples and the tiles and all that kind of stuff. Bring it all together, bring it all into that room and have it all set there and, kind of pick out what they want to do. So that was one of the things that we did. We had to really reinvest in the company. And I think that's going to be a game changer for us. We've had people through already for some of the projects that we're working on or going to be working on in the new year. And
that's awesome.
They just love it.
What a tough call, right? Like, hey, business is slowing down.
Yeah.
Let's spend some more money. Right? Like,
it sounds counterintuitive, but when you hear Gary talk about it, it makes sense, right? Because that's your opportunity for growth, really. And like Hop was saying that from Source of Sports, that when they slowed down, it gave them an opportunity to look at the floor space.
Yeah, Wani took on that price or that sales per foot.
Yes.
You know, he started doing some math, and they kind of looked at their space, and, and based on their inventory, you know, he worked out a formula, and it was like, okay, well, what's our sales per square foot here? And then so that now based, like, because in the retail space, you know, your hottest selling shit, it's tucked in the back corner that nobody sees.
Right. Yeah.
With good margin. Yeah. Right. Like you're leaving money on the table, whereas like your low margin, low volume is in prime time real estate. Yeah. It's like, it's so backwards.
But again, it was that slow time that almost forced them to work on the business.
Gave them the opportunity.
To you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was like, okay, where are we winning? Where are we losing? Like, what could we be doing a little bit better? And that comes back to social media. And I'm like, we really haven't been doing anything. Like I don't even know what to post. Like, I would take pictures before, and it was like, click. So I'm like, what are people doing here? So I'm trying to get some ideas. I'm like, I want to kind of come up with something for what we do. Like I do when we're doing a project, I do a walkthrough. So I do a walkthrough through the whole thing, like a video, right? And put a little tune to it, and walk through the house. And then I like to do one after, so it shows that afterwards, right? So I'm like, we got to get our name out there, start getting our brand out, like again, because we're doing a lot of word of mouth stuff, but let's start pushing it, and it's been great. I've been making a lot of connections out there, and some of the more rewarding things that I'm finding too is people are like, oh, we've heard of KEMBRO, they do really good work.
That's amazing.
Nothing makes you smile more when you hear that. It's like,
it's
wow, you guys know about us? Like, this is cool. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, in your world, in the day and age now, like AI is a thing, right? There's tools popping up everywhere. There's platforms that are allowing, average Joes who don't have that, computer science background to be able to play. Like, is there tools that you guys have explored, considered to help you on the operations side, as far as like the design piece and like quoting? Like, have you guys gone down and explored that type of a path at all?
We haven't. That's mainly my end of things with KEMBRO, but I'm very inexperienced with that type of thing. I'm still like kind of old school, right? Like just doing the social media stuff was like, wow, like I didn't know I could do this, right? So it'll be something probably we're exploring down the road, but right now we haven't really looked into that yet. But I'm seeing lots of stuff coming now. Like some of the designers we use, like you see the drawings they're doing, and they look like an actual house. It's insane. Like just the way everything's kind of taken off.
But it is, and I obviously I'm in that space too, and it's like there is a lot coming down the pipe where it's almost overwhelming.
I know.
And you really do have to be careful that you don't just jump onto the next shiny toy, because there's a lot of companies that are building these AI tools. They're not going to be around. There's just too many.
Sure.
And I think it's smart for you to just kind of take pause and just be like, well, wait a sec. Like what's been working for us in the past, technology evolves and you want to use it as tools, but probably just seeing, what is going to work for you, what's not going to work for you too.
So and where my head goes, and you guys, I imagine do a relatively decent job of it, but you're likely competing sometimes with another, option.
Always.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're able to come in and provide a quote and get that quote to them faster than the next guy, your likelihood of earning that business probably increases dramatically.
Absolutely.
Right. So when I'm talking about tools, like you're right, slippery slope, dangerous territory to just chase the next shiny object, like you said. But in the construction business, like, backyard reno, bathroom reno, kitchen reno, it's laborious to like, okay, now I got to find time to get to the site. I'm not getting paid.
That's true.
I'm spending gas. I'm spending time. I've got these other jobs. So, folks that I know in the trades, like the quoting process is fucking laborious and takes time.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where my head goes when I think of the tools in this particular business is, can we streamline and make our quoting turnaround process more efficient.
Yeah.
Because if we do, it's likely going to increase our closing rates,
That's
which
right.
means more business for the organization.
I agree. Yeah, it's very time consuming because you're going out, you're measuring, you're back at the computer, or calling my trade. Hey man, I got a room this size. I'm looking to do 12 by 24 tile. Like, what are we looking at for a rough price? Like just stuff like that, right? And it takes a lot of time, right? But it'd be nice to start venturing down that road once it.
Yeah, well, pace, right? We talk about that a lot too. Pace and quoting, and you make a good point, Sky.
And if you're listening and you have, reach out.
Yeah.
My experience is Chat GPT.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other episode. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. So I know we got to let you get going here, Gary. But so the new showroom. Is that up and running now, or are you guys close to?
We're pretty close to getting it completed. Nice. So we're looking at January opening. So
right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so and that's and tell us where that is. Is on Warncliffe?
Yeah, we're at 387 Warncliffe Road South, which is Warncliffe Road in Emery. So you'll see Ellie's Pizza. Everyone knows about Ellie's Pizza, I think.
Yeah, and Source of Sports on the other side.
Sports on the other side.
Right down that core there. So cool, man. We'll come visit you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully Brett gets his butt in gear and gets those gets the glass up. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Brett. We love him. We love that guy. Great guy. Shout out to Provincial Glass for sure. So yeah, man. No, thanks, Gary, for coming on. Really appreciate it. I mean, again, like my curiosity personally about someone like yourself in your space, it still fascinates me. There's so many variables that you get into, and you're building people's dreams, right? Like you're really helping support, people's vision and their dreams and helping them navigate. So that's awesome, man. Good on you. Continued success for sure. And
you as well.
Yeah, good one, eh?
Yeah,
another great one.
Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, awesome. All right, that's a wrap. Great. Thanks, Gary.
Awesome.
Fist bumps. We doing fist bumps? Another great episode. Thanks for joining us. Please support our podcast. By supporting us, you can go to YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, go to our website, hustleandgrindpod.com. That way you can go and you can apply to be a guest. Listen to us anywhere that you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, all the channels. But we really appreciate your support. Keep listening. We have a lot of great episodes and a lot of great guests ready to go. We're going to keep coming hard at you here and digging into the hustle and grind of what it takes to be an entrepreneur and a business owner.